The 2019 movie, The Two Popes, demonstrates a key turning point for the Catholic Church. It explores an intimate relationship between two religious leaders, Pope Benedict XVI and the future Pope Francis. In the movie, we see the interaction between two men who have very different opinions over the theological, cultural, and socioeconomic matters relating to the doctrine of the Catholic Church. Most importantly, the movie helps us unpack the following question: what role should religion play in contemporary society?
The movie begins by showing us the election of the new Pope after the death of John Paul II. We see the Cardinal shouting, "Habemus Papam." We see how the German Cardinal Ratzinger is elected as Pope Benedict XVI. We also see Jorge Bergoglio, the future Pope Francis, casting a vote. The movie soon shifts to the more infamous period of the Catholic Church, namely the period of the Vatican leak scandal, when Vatican documents were leaked exposing corruption. In addition, the rather conservative position on moral and political issues by Benedict XVI at this point is also gaining a lot of criticism.
Now, we should take a look at Erich Fromm's 1950 book, Psychoanalysis and Religion. Here, the famous German psychologist examines the relationship between religion and psychoanalysis. He claims that there is a methodological similarity between these two practices. That is to say, both priests and psychoanalysts, according to Fromm, undertake to treat the human soul. This is, however, not an obvious interpretation, considering the fact that psychoanalysis is often perceived as a very secular practice.
So, how does Fromm argue his case? He writes, "Freud's method, psychoanalysis, has made possible the most minute and intimate study of the soul. The laboratory of the analyst has no gadgets. He cannot weigh or count his findings, but he gains insight through dreams, fantasies, and associations into the hidden desires and anxieties of his patients." In other words, psychoanalysis, according to Fromm, treats the human soul because, unlike modern rationalism, which treats intellect as mere instrument to manipulate things and men, psychoanalysis treats real human emotions, all the feelings, dreams, pleasures, dislikes, sensitivities, traumas, and reflexes. Everything that is immediate and important to the lived experience of the person.
The movie Two Popes presents a religious institution in need of change. That is to say, the rather conservative approach to theology by Benedict XVI is distancing the Church from its people, their lived experiences. One could say that this movie shows that the Church is lacking a more psychoanalytic, more intimate approach to the soul, an approach that is based on human-to-human interaction. This is the methodology that Jorge Bergoglio, the future Pope Francis, represents. He wants to resign from his position as a cardinal because he believes that the Church is too rigid and its reform is long overdue. Bergoglio believes that by resigning, he can do more good to his community.
When Benedict XVI asks Bergoglio whether his resignation is a form of protest, Bergoglio claims that he's not protesting, he's not running away, he simply wants to take a parish and work closely with its people. Here we can return to Erich Fromm, who claims that even if one does not accept religion or the Church, one does not have to abandon the soul. Fromm writes, "The psychoanalyst finds that the question is not whether man returns to religion and believes in God, but whether he lives, loves, and thinks truth. If he does so, the symbol systems he uses are of secondary importance. If he does not, they are of no importance."
A similar approach to religion is exemplified by Bergoglio's own words. When he is challenged by Benedict XVI for giving sacraments to people who are out of communion, Bergoglio responds like this.
I believe that giving communion is not a reward for the virtuous, it is food for the starving.
This means that the Church, according to Bergoglio, should not make a rigid distinction between people who live strictly according to the rules of the Church and those who do not. The most important factor for Bergoglio, like Erich Fromm, is whether the person lives love and thinks truth at the present moment.
Now we all know what the Orthodox psychoanalysis says about religion. Freud claimed that religion is an illusion invented when a person is incapable of dealing with reality. The person invents a fairy tale of a father-like figure who can protect him from uncontrollable forces. In other words, Freud believed that religion is a simple repetition of the experience of the child. Erich Fromm, however, understands religion as a universal need for a frame of orientation, an object of devotion. This could be anything. One could be devoted to a god, to a career, to money, to a hobby. I guess one could also be devoted to a meme.
To this end, Erich Fromm writes, "The psychoanalyst whose laboratory is the patient and who is a participant observer of another person's thoughts and feelings is able to add another proof to the fact that the need for some frame of orientation and object of devotion is inherent in man. In studying neuroses, he discovers that he's studying religion. The problem is, according to Fromm, that contemporary society generates a very superficial kind of idolatry, that is, the idolatry of power, of success, and of the authority of the market."
In the movie Two Popes, Jorge Bergoglio, the future Pope Francis, continually addresses the political problems of the day. He mentions climate change, he mentions economic inequality. He says that church should be more focused on the relevant socio-political issues, less on strict adherence to the Catholic dogma. This is precisely the reason why the movie Two Popes emphasizes the need to heal, as Fromm would say, the soul, rather than focus on strict adherence to the religious symbol system.
Erich Fromm emphasizes that the Church has always been more concerned with certain dogmas rather than with the practice of love and humility in everyday life. The churches, Fromm claims, should be representatives not only of words, but of the spirit of the Ten Commandments. This would allow the Church to block the regression to private religion, totemism, political dogmatism, and idol worship. Interestingly, Erich Fromm, just like the Cardinal Bergoglio, is asking the same question. Namely, can we trust the religious institution to spread love and humility in everyday life? Or should we instead resign and work outside of the organized religion?
The movie shows Cardinal Bergoglio struggling to get the approval by Pope Benedict of his resignation. However, Bergoglio does succeed in establishing a friendship with the Pope. They discuss football, they eat pizza, they dance tango together, they listen to music, they exchange jokes. This shows that the structure of symbols can be refreshed, subverted even, at the very center of the Vatican. In turn, this friendship totally changes the hard-line dynamics of a very authoritarian institution.
Erich Fromm claims that the essential element of authoritarian religion is the surrender to a power transcending man. Humanistic religions, on the contrary, are centered on the person and his or her strength. The person, in other words, must develop his powers of love, his ability to connect with others, to show solidarity. This, according to Fromm, is a crucial point in all humanist religions. He mentions Buddhism, Taoism, the teachings of Jesus, Socrates, Spinoza, and others.
Most importantly, humanist religion does not focus on the thought system as such, but rather on the human attitude underlying the doctrine. The movie Two Popes achieves exactly this. It shows that the human attitude, the real human experience underlying the Catholic Church is at stake. Whatever your opinion of religion or religious doctrine may be, the movie at the very least shows that the more humanist approach to the treatment of the human soul, the real human experience, should be practiced. Religion, in other words, should take the cue from psychoanalysis. One must determine the human reality behind the thought system. Thank you for watching. See you next time.